Welcome to the channel, and if this is your first time coming across this channel, please do well to hit the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on the post notification. Welcome to class today, and today we'll be looking at why most traders lost on USDJPY and how to flip script. USDJPY is a very volatile pair, as you know. And if you've not actually traded USDJPY, USDJPY is like trading gold, silver, and the rest volatility pairs, and that's why I actually enjoy trading USDJPY, GBP and Bitcoin, because I enjoy volatility pairs. They move fast, and within little or no time, your profit is secured. So your stop loss is already taken out, so you don't have to waste any time actually taking this pair. So in today's topic, we'll be looking at the truth nobody wants to admit. USDJPY market isn't just volatile, it is a trap. It is a trap. And if you don't know, as I earlier explained, USDJPY is very volatile. And if you don't understand how to trade it, then that's what forms of liquidity market. So now we'll be looking at 5 points we have on the screen here. And what can you see? The first point we have is we have volatility. Talking about volatility, it is trying to explain the rate of movement. USDJPY pair is very volatile. Then the second reason why most traders they lose USDJPY or have losses on USDJPY was trading from invalid order block. A lot of persons they don't actually know how to mark the order block. You get to hear a lot of traders saying something like USDJPY doesn't respect order block. USDJPY doesn't respect any zones. I'm here today to actually prove to you that USDJPY works with order block, and that is solely what I trade with my inducement. Third on our list is lack of liquidity before fresh. That's what I mean by POI, talking about a point of interest. They don't consider either inducement before the point of interest. That's why I see a lot of persons complain that USDJPY does not expect order block. No confirmation. What are your confluences? What are those confirmations you want to actually see before you take your entry on USDJPY? Those are things that you watching don't consider. Next point is tight stop loss. Are you suffering from using tight stop loss on USDJPY? Then you have to give a rethink, consider, and actually back test. So actually see what works and what doesn't work. That is why I'm here actually explain to you what you need to note, things you need to take out, and things you need to add. Backtest and would see yourself improving just trading JPY. And if you actually want part of my community, actually see my setup on USDJPY, Bitcoin, and GBP, do where to hit the link or the description, join my free Telegram channel, and get to my setup firsthand. Don't miss out on any of my pairs. All right, so let's move on to looking at the real chart example, where we'll be looking at what works and what doesn't work, what you need to correct in your setup today. Okay, straight to the chart now. Okay, so here we are on USDJPY, and you can see what trade actually took for last week and this week. And if you actually want to understand this setup or how we're able to actually get all of this trade, my community, and how we're able to make profit from them, losses, the wins, I'm going to go by USDJPY and get to actually break it down for you one after the other. We'll be looking at USDJPY from the weekly, daily, 4 hours down to our entry time frame, which is 1 hour time frame. Stick around and watch to the end so you don't get to miss out on any point that will be discussed in this video. I'll be dissecting USDJPY to the minimal understanding, even for beginner. This video. Stay tuned. So let's go back to the weekly. So here we are on the weekly. Let's take out everything from this chart to actually what break this chart from start to the end. So stick around while we do that in this video. So here we are on USDJPY, the weekly time frame. So looking at USDJPY from the weekly time frame, you can see that what we have been bullish. We have been bullish. So looking at the chart, what can you see? So here on USDJPY on the weekly time frame, we had what? This high, which gave us what? We had a sweep at this point. After having this sweep here, what what will you actually what look at this point? This was what a sweep. It wasn't a break. So these are some of the mistakes a lot of traders out there get. So when you see a candle wick above above your point or above your high or low, a lot of persons dare to consider it as what a break of structure, change of character. This was just what market sweep. So where did we have the break? This was where we had the break of structure. At this point, we had our break of structure sitting at this point. After having the break of structure, where was our other block? Weekly time frame. Where do you have your other block? So looking at the weekly time frame calmly, what can you see? Have this what? Have this break of structure to the upside weekly here. Just listen and follow through so you don't miss out on any step. After having that break of structure, where was the last other block that actually created this structure? Have this what? Break of structure sitting here. Have this break of structure here. That was where we had the other block. Actually what? Took out the structure. But was this a valid structure to actually trade from? Following the fact that what you have this zone and you have this zone pending. So looking at this chart, what were you supposed to actually what consider? Because these are some of the mistakes you've been actually been making that will be causing your losses on what trading what USDJPY. So looking at this chart, this was what an invalid zone. This was what valid what zone to actually what take a trade from. So let me get to actually mark chart the proper way it should be. So what next time when you're on your chart, you get to actually understand how to actually mark your chart. So yeah, coming to this point, this was where we had our what other block. We had our other block, and what can you see on this weekly other block? You can see that what there was a fair value gap sitting here. What can you see? Have this fair value gap. Have this fair value gap sitting that point. And when you have a fair value gap, this tells you that what there's a tendency that what price will definitely have to pull down all the way to fill that fair value gap. So we have a fair value gap, and this is what at this point as what our inducement. Those are inducement zone, which will also what trigger this price to crash all the way to this. And what did you notice? Immediately price crashed into this zone. There was what a corresponding move to the upside, which gave us what a change of character at this point. Had a change of character on the weekly time frame. After having this change of character, what can we see? So we took at this high. This gave us what a change of character. And if you look closely on this weekly time frame, where is our other block? We have our other block, which was the last what candle. So this was what our other block. And we have our fair value gap sitting at this point. There's our fair value gap. After having that fair value gap, as you all know, want to see our price come back into what our fair value gap. There should be what liquidity before our point of interest. And what can you see? Have our liquidity quickly at this point that was taken out. This was our liquidity was taken out. So on the weekly time frame, and see that we are bullish. So on the weekly, we are bullish, and you see price has already tapped into this zone and was responding to what to the upside. So where is our target for weekly time frame? First, the first target we want to see price get to is high. We want to see price get to this high, and the next target is what? We want to see price run all the way to this point. Now let's step down to daily time frame to actually understand, to get a clear picture before we step down to 4 hours time frame. Stick around. All right. So we are on the daily time frame. This is the daily time frame, and on the daily time frame, what can we see? From this point, we can see that what price has already what tapped into this zone. So from the daily time frame, looking at this chart, what can you see? First, let's get to find this to daily candle. Okay, so this is the daily candle, and what can you see? Price tapped into this point. So after price tapped into this zone, you can see that what price would continue in what a bullish direction. So what we'll be looking at now is we want to look at the 4 hours, then we'll look at 1 hour to actually what understand the direction and why we should be looking at for buys, because overall we've already seen that what the price is what bullish to the upside. Price is what expecting to the what to the upside. So looking at the most current price action on this pair, let's look at from this range to this range to actually understand what is happening in this range. Because if you look at this price, this is what price is actually trading a range. This is the range price is actually trading. So we'll take this out and get some market with a line to actually understand what our point of interest or the range we're actually trading within. So looking at this, what can you see? We had a what? Break to the downside. Had this break to the downside at this point, and what price moves down aggressively. You can see we have this fair value gap, and we have what this supply zone at this point. See, we had this what supply zone. Price has already what mitigated this zone. After price mitigated this zone, this was the next low we wanted to see price what violate to actually give us what a change of character. You don't have to skip any of this. You have to actually what, take your time and actually look at this price one after the other, so you actually understand what USDJPY is doing and what we are expecting. I've already said it about on the monthly, on the weekly, we are bullish. We are bullish. So what daily is also showing us that what we are bullish. So let's step down to the 4 hours to actually what understand. Don't forget, this is what our trading range. This is our trading range, and you can see that what from this point to this point, this supply zone has been mitigated, and from this line we have above at this point, what can you see? You can see that what this is now what a liquidity. You're now having what you're having what double tops, or let me just say, okay, we are having what a relative equal what relative equal highs, relative equal highs. So let's take out this supply zone. So we get to step down to the 4 hours to actually understand what we are to look at for on the 4 hours. Right. So here we are on the 4 hours. Don't forget, this is what our relative equal what equal highs, and we have the low. We are expecting what price to actually take out, which is this. So let's change this to maybe a red color so that we can actually understand, make it thicker. Okay, so if price was able to actually what break this low with what a candle body close, if we have a body close below this will have actually what giving us a confirmation that what we are what bearish. But what can you see? Market actually what took out the liquidity below this low, and price is continuing to the upside, meaning what we have no reason for sell. All we have to look at for is what buying opportunity. So coming to the 4 hours, what can we see? We had what this other block on the 4 hours, and this other block actually what caused a break of structure at this point. Had this break of structure. So this was our break of structure at this point. So after we had this break of structure, you can see we have liquidity, as we always want to see. There should be what liquidity. before what our point of interest, and that is why what you are failing, because what you are trying to trade without liquidity. You are trying to trade without liquidity. You can't trade JPY pair without what liquidity. Now, if you look closely, what can you see? You see what you push from this zone, and what we have all of this what as what our liquidity. What can you see? That was what our liquidity, and immediately what price took out this liquidity. Immediately price took out this liquidity, price tapped into the other block and what reacted to the upside. So next time you actually want to what place that trade on USDJPY, make sure that what want to see a confirmed break. There should be confirmation, and this break shouldn't be with candle wick. It should be with what a candle body close. Next thing you want to see is what is that presence of liquidity. Is that what a fair value gap sitting before what that zone, and what price coming down, you want to see if price is pulling down aggressively or price is moving down slowly, or in a what slow and steady manner. You don't want to see price coming aggressively towards your zone. If it comes aggressively towards your zone, then there's a tendency that what that zone is going to fail. So now price tapped into this zone, and what price took out the last high we had here. So at this point we had another what break to the upside, which we are left with what this other block on the 4 hours. So this was the other block we were left with on the 4 hours. So what can you see? After price pushed up, what did you see? Price pushed down and tapped on this demand zone on the 4 hours, and what did you see? Price reacted to the upside. Price came back down again, reacted to the upside. But let me explain the crazy thing that actually what happened on this particular pair, which was I and my community actually what had a loss on this pair last week. So after we had this zone on the 4 hours, we stepped down to the 1 hour time frame. Step down to the 1 hour time frame. Let me actually what show you something. So stepping down to the 1 hour time frame, we actually refined this demand zone all the way to this point, and we are expecting the price to actually what take out all of this liquidity, because this was what liquidity. So actually wanted to see the price what slash down into this zone, then what continue to the upside. But there was a news event that day, and price actually came into this zone, and what you can see we're all taken out before what price continued in our desired direction. So one thing is actually what understanding what your directional bias, and that is why I had to go over to the weekly, daily 4 hours, and now we are on the what 1 hour time frame to actually what get our precise entry. So after we had this stop loss, what was the next thing I was actually looking at for on this USDJPY trade? I stepped down to I waited for the price to actually what I actually waited for this price to come back into this zone, then move to the upside. After price cleared this high, because this was what the last high that created this low on the 1 hour time frame, looking at it from the bigger picture. So I had this zone. So this was where I had my change of character. Yeah, that was my change of character. Okay, so now what did you notice at this point? You see, when price swept this point, I didn't actually consider it as my what my break of structure or my change of character, because I wanted to actually see this candle close with a body. I actually wanted to see a body close before I actually confirm that what I had what a change of character, and I should be looking for what a continuation to buy to the upside, looking at what the bigger picture. So okay, all right. So after I had this sweep, first thing I noticed was there was a demand. This demand was here. We had this demand, and price tapped into this demand. But I wasn't actually interested in this demand because this didn't close with a body close. There was no body close, and that is why I said you have to actually what set your rules or your confirmations for you to actually validate the trades you actually want to take. because what? Not all liquidity sweep or not all candle wicking above a wick that shows that what there's a change of character. For you to actually have a valid change of character or a valid break of structure, we want to see a candle break with full body closure. So at this point, this price tapped into this zone. We didn't actually take a trade here because we didn't have this as a valid close above. So price tapped in, pushed up, giving us what? A change of character. When we had this change of character coming to this week, what did I do? So I waited for the price to actually what give me some forms of what inducement. So I went down to the 1 hour. What can you see? If you check on the 1 hour, this is what you have. This order block. Order block. So mark to full candle. Now looking at this 1 hour, what can you see? We see that what we have a momentum from this point. You can see the movement from this point was impulsive. This movement from here was impulsive, and if you look at this point, we have what? A fair value gap. We have what? A fair value gap. That was our fair value gap sitting there. So I pull this demand zone this way. I put this demand zone this way, and it was what? A 1:3 trade. You can use the link in the description to join our Telegram channel so you don't get to miss out on any of my trades that will be shared in the community there. And for this particular trade, I'll be leaving the screenshots at the end of this video so you can actually see the before, the after, and everything concerning this trade. So this was how we actually caught this trade. We took our buy at this point. Our stop loss was 50 pips. This was how the trade was placed, and it was a 1:3. It was a 1:3. So okay, so this was it. Now, why was I actually bold to actually set my take profit to this extreme? Now, let me show you something on the chart. So looking at the chart, don't forget, I've already explained that USDJPY is bullish, and whatever you're doing, we should be looking out for what? The bullish move on USDJPY for now till the trend turns bearish. So first, I was looking to actually what? Clear this high. I was actually looking to clear this high. And my first bias on USDJPY for the whole of this month and last week, I was expecting this push to actually what? Take out this high all the way to the top. For those that actually been joining our live sections every Monday, they can actually tell that this has been the bias we've actually been what looking at for USDJPY to actually come take out this high all the way to the upside. So why didn't I actually look for sell opportunity here? If you see, this is already what? Descending what? Descending highs. And when you have descending highs this way, what is that? You're having what? Liquidity. There is no reason for you to actually sell, because what? Those that trade support and resistance, they might be looking for something like this to actually what? Take a sell at this point. And what? If you have a breakout to this point, that means market is trying to clear all of this liquidity lying on this what? Descending what? Trend line. So we already considered this point as our liquidity. Let me get to expand this. Okay, so better. So I already have this as my trend line, what? Liquidity, and I already have this as my what? Horizontal what? Liquidity sitting at this point. So it was a very, very simple concept. I just have to just place this buy and allow the price come into this, and what? You can just see immediately price tapped into this. What did you see? It was what? We had what? A take profit. This was a full take profit. The trade breakdown and everything was also shared on the Telegram channel. I will do where to put the screenshots so you get to actually see everything. So now, what are we actually expecting in the coming days for USDJPY? That is the most important thing. And if you actually want to see more of these setups from my community, from me, want to actually understand how I get to mark all of this setup, do well to always join our Monday market analysis every Monday 7 a.m. Don't miss out. And do well to use the Telegram link in the description or the pin comment section in the comments. That is our free Telegram channel. So for next week, what is our buyers who actually want to see USDJPY come back into this other block? So looking at USDJPY, we want to have this other block. This is the next move we want to see USDJPY come into. And for us to actually trade from this zone, will not be taking our trade immediately the price comes back into this. We want to see what the market give us, what inducement. It's very, very important. Now, if you look at this setup, why was this setup a valid setup? Because that's what differentiates pro traders from beginners. Now, looking at this setup, a lot of persons will actually what mark this as what their breaker structure. You're not wrong. That's their breaker structure, and they will come back to mark here as what their other block. Now, marking this point as your other block, you have your fair value gap, but what there was no inducement. Now, marking this other block, what did you notice? You notice what? There is liquidity resting below. Look at the chart clearly. So next time when you are looking at what USDJPY chart, you get to actually what take your time to actually understand. You see, there was liquidity build before this zone, and that is why this zone was more valid compared to this. So next time, actually look at the other block you are taking your trade from. Look at the confirmations you're actually marking and look out for what? Inducement. There should be some level of engineered liquidity before your zone. And lastly, want to see fair value gap and the momentum from that zone. Now, coming to this particular trade, what are we looking for? You can see the push from this zone after this accumulation we have here. The push from this zone is massive. We have what? Our fair value gap. See, this is our fair value gap sitting here. After having this fair value gap, we want to see price give us some sort of what inducement. Now we want to see either what engineered liquidity, maybe price pulling down this way, come back, and maybe create a kind of like a fake change of character at this point. And a lot of persons will be expecting to take this buy, and this now gives you what the inducement. Now price pulls back into this zone before what continue to the upside. So do well to join the Telegram channel. So when this trade will actually be called out, you don't get to miss out on this trade. Now, let's go to the 4 hours to actually understand the bigger picture and where will be our next target on USDJPY in the coming days. So if you actually see on the 4 hours, this other block is also valid. So looking at the 4 hours time frame, what can you see? We still have this high to be taken out. We want to see price run all the way to this point. So on this trade, we'll be looking at what possible 1:3, 1:4, 1:5. But as you all know, I always stick to 1:3. I always stick to 1:3 because what I like working with realistic take profit. And if you always want to be on the winning team, don't forget to what join my free Telegram channel. It's free, totally free. So this is where we'll be looking to actually move this price to in the coming days. So hopefully we'll be able to get a trade entry. So stepping to the daily time frame, you can see that what we have this liquidity to actually what take out from this zone. This liquidity is still valid. So this liquidity will mark on the 4 hours. This one we still is still like at our major target because for now we are still what bullish on USDJPY. So I believe this was helpful to you. You actually got value, and next time you actually want to take your next trade on USDJPY, please do well to consider all of the word listed steps I've actually given in this video, backtest, and if you have any issue or if you have any question, please do well to make use of the comment section. And if you want to be in the midst of profitable traders, do well to subscribe to this channel so you don't get to miss out on any of our videos. Do well to share with your loved ones so they can actually benefit. And lastly, join our free Telegram channel where we share trades strictly on what USDJPY, GBP and Bitcoin. If you want to stay updated with all market updates concerning what the crypto market and the Forex market, do well to use the free Telegram channel in the comment section. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye for now.